Well, the Prime Minister's picking another big fight with big tech. As we saw at the top of the program, he's announced new legislation to crack down on online bullies, which threatens to unmask anonymous social media users if they spread defamatory comments online. But it's not just time's up for Twitter trolls. Under the new laws, platforms like Facebook, Instagram and Twitter would be held responsible legally for comments made by third parties. To help make sense of it all, I want to bring in one of the best lawyers in the business, partner at Thomson, Geer, Justin Quill. Justin, thanks for your time. Under this legislation, how would Facebook and Twitter trolls be unmasked?
I've got to say, this seems like this is a lot of hullabaloo about not much. I don't think that this proposed legislation is really that different to the law as it currently stands. The main difference, I think, will be that it'll be in legislation. There's nothing stopping a person who thinks they've been defamed on a social media platform taking that platform to court in the form of a pre-litigation discovery where you go along to the court and say, I've been defamed, I don't know who did it, but this party over here, the social media platform, knows, and I want documents, I want discovery from that party. You usually then get an IP address and you usually go along with that IP address to a telco and try and identify who the person is that sits behind that account. So that can already happen. Sure, there's no legislation.
But does it happen routinely? I mean, can the social media giants say, sorry, we're not going to unmask our users. Good luck to you, but we're not going to be involved in that process. Has that happened?
It certainly has happened. My experience, I've been involved in cases where people have obtained a court order requiring social media platforms to identify or provide documents. It's not necessarily identify the person because a social media platform may not know, but it's provide documents that go to the identity. And then, as I say, that's usually commonly in the context of an IP address. So once a social media platform is the subject of a court order, these social media platforms, even though people like to bag them from time to time, they comply with the law and they follow those court orders. So I've certainly been involved in cases where that has occurred.
Now, explain for my viewers at home the significance of deeming social media platforms publishers. Why is shifting the liability for online comments by third parties considered quite a big deal?
Yeah, well, again, I've got to say I don't see this as such a big move, other than it's been put into legislation, what is currently the common law. The law pretty much operates such that where you run a social media platform and you are unaware of comments, defamatory comments posted on that platform, you're not liable for them until such time as you put on notice or a reasonable time after being put on notice. If you have a choice at that point, you've been informed, you've got a legal letter or something like that says, I've been defamed on your platform, as the social media platform, you have a choice then. Am I going to stand by this comment and effectively in doing so become the publisher, or am I going to remove it? If you remove it within a reasonable time, then you're not deemed a publisher. If you don't remove it within a reasonable time, you are deemed a publisher. So it seems to me that this legislation is really just going to put in practice what is already in existence in the common law. But I've got to stress, and this is probably the key to this whole thing, the devil is going to be in the detail. The way the legislation is drafted is going to be crucial. We're supposedly seeing a draft of the legislation this week, which is incredibly quick. Great to see government working quickly. And it'll be really interesting to see what exactly it says and how far it goes, because my view currently, based on what the Prime Minister said, is that it's not going to be that much different on the points that you've raised to what the law currently is, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, that's no good, Justin. That's no good, because the law needs to catch up with the technology, with the advancements we've seen. Another issue that could be an unintended consequence that people have already raised is the matter of censorship. If these platforms are going to have greater legal responsibility, could they become even more censorious and eliminate accounts that they feel are risky? And we've seen Conservatives kicked off Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Even the former President Donald Trump is no longer has a Twitter account. So could this actually increase censorship? Could that be an unintended consequence?
Oh, no doubt it could be. I mean, look, there's a couple of important things to say here. Nobody likes trolls. You don't like them, Rita. I don't like them. The government doesn't like them. The social media platforms won't like trolls. The social media platforms don't want their platforms just turning into nothing but a cesspit of abuse from trolls. So they don't like, and some people say there's already too many trolls. The social media platforms don't want trolls. And by trolls, I mean anonymous people engaging in nothing but abuse. But in terms of
that's the problem, though, Justin, because trolls, we've seen with social media, these platforms lean very much left. They're run by people who are ideologically very left, and there is a double standard in how they treat hate speech from the left and what they consider hate speech from the right. And if you're a centre-right, you can get banned over a very mainstream comment like there are only two genders. They'll get you banned. But you can be on the left and spew all sorts of unhinged abuse and still keep your account. So it's not a level playing field, and I wonder if this is going to improve it or make it even worse. Justin, Quill, thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thanks, Rita.